I was going to say good afternoon, but good evening, Assembly, Commerce, and Labor. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Here.
Assemblywoman Considine.
Present.
Assemblywoman Dickman. Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblyman Flores.
Present.
Assemblyman Frierson. Assemblywoman Hardy.
Here.
Assemblywoman Kasama.
Here.
Assemblywoman Martinez. Assemblywoman Marzola.
Here.
Assemblyman O'Neill.
Here.
Assemblywoman Tolles. Chair Howdigi.
Here. And Madam Secretary, if you would mark the members absent excused who are not present, and then mark them present when they arrive. I know they are making their way up, and I have already received notice that a couple of them are presenting in the Senate. Okay, committee members, welcome to the evening edition of Commerce and Labor. We have a very short agenda today, just 2 bill hearings, and then we are going to move into a work session. I think everyone is familiar with our housekeeping items, so I do not want to waste time, and I would like to get us started on our agenda. And just for those who are here, I do want to make note that we are removing Senate Bill 205 from the agenda, and we'll go ahead and take the other 2 bills in order. So at this time, I would like to open the hearing on Senate Bill 291, which revises provisions relating to cosmetology. Senator Lang, welcome. And when you are ready, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair, members of the committee. I'm Roberta Lang, State Senator from District 7 in Las Vegas. I am here to talk to you tonight about Senate Bill 291, a bill that seeks to expand the practice of cosmetology by including the practice of advanced aesthetics. On the Zoom is Gary Landry. He's the Executive Director of the State Board of Cosmetology, who will answer any questions. And Chair Howdigi, with your permission, when I'm finished presenting, if I could head back to education, where we are doing a work session.
Yes, Senator, that would be fine. It's that time of session.
And Ms. Bells is here to answer any questions in my absence. Thank you. The aesthetic industry is swiftly evolving with technology advances such as cosmetic lasers and medical light-based devices taking skincare and anti-aging to the next level. However, many of the newest innovations in skincare do not fall under the scope of practice of the current Nevada aesthetics license. These new procedures use the state-of-the-art technology, and the inability to license these procedures poses a problem for spas who want to offer these services for estheticians who want to perform them. According to the skincare professionals, there are approximately 183,000 estheticians licensed in the United States. In addition, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics expects that between 2019 and 2029, the number of skincare specialists licensed in the United States will increase by a full 17%, just to keep pace with the growing demand for aesthetic services. All states require estheticians to complete some type of education or training before they can qualify for licensure. A few jurisdictions, the states of Washington, Utah, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., currently recognize a 2-tier esthetician license, which, with additional training and education in Master Aesthetics Program or apprenticeship is required to become a licensed Master Esthetician. The most typical route to achieving the required education is through a formal aesthetics program within an aesthetic school of cosmetology. With your permission, I will go through the sections of the bill quickly. I will begin with Section 25.5, which expands the definition of esthetician to include the practice of advanced aesthetics. Section 19 prohibits an esthetician from engaging in the practice of advanced aesthetics unless the esthetician obtains an endorsement to his or her license to engage in the practice of advanced aesthetics. Sections 19, 20, 20.5, and 45 set forth procedures for examination, obtaining the issuance of an endorsement to practice advanced aesthetics, and Section 22 authorizes an esthetician to practice advanced aesthetics in a non-ablative aesthetic medical procedures under certain circumstances and under the supervision of a healthcare professional. This section also prohibits these professionals from performing any ablative aesthetic medical procedures. Section 23 requires the board to adopt regulations prescribing a curriculum for course study in advanced aesthetics and outlines certain subjects that must be included in the instruction of advanced aesthetics. Section 25 provides that provides that certain licensed medical professionals authorized to practice in their respective profession who engage in the practice of advanced aesthetics are exempt from the requirements of this bill. Finally, Section 39 requires a licensed cosmetology establishment to display in plain view a sign stating that the establishment is not a medical facility. Section 43 provides that failure to display such signs is ground for a disciplinary action from the board. I might, in closing, just let you know that the bill was amended to, because there was concern from doctors that might think people doing advanced aesthetics were physicians, and that is why at their facility they have to say that this is not a medical facility. There was also concern about the deep tissue procedures. Doctors felt like going into the second level of tissue was a concern, and those should be done in a doctor's office, and so that's why that was removed for the bill. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. And was Mr. Landry here just for Q&A, or is he giving remarks as well?
He is here for Q&A.
Thank you. Okay. And I do have a couple of questions, but I'm going to go to the members first to see if there are any questions from the members. Assemblymember Flores?
And thank you, Senator. I did have an opportunity to speak with some of the stakeholders, and they did a great job giving me a breakdown of the bill. The only question that I had is if you could provide an example of a scenario we've seen where, unfortunately, because lack of adequate training, there may have been somebody who was injured, or just so we understand the severity of not having that second tier expertise that we're trying to get at to now.
Sure. I think the reason that we need the advanced esthetician, because frankly, estheticians are doing these practices all around Nevada, all around the Strip, and they have no oversight over what they're doing. So having an advanced esthetician's license provides the oversight so that these estheticians that are doing this work will be now governed by the Cosmetology Board and have some accountability for what they're doing. Did you want a specific example? Because I could ask Gary.
Yeah, Madam Chair, yes, thank you, Madam Chair, for indulging me with the follow-up. Yes, so I understand that. It makes sense. You want to create uniformity across the state. That makes perfect sense, and put it in the hands of the correct folk to do that. But I am curious to know if there's also an element of concern, because we've seen folk who don't have that added layer of training, and have unfortunately made mistakes, or we've seen folk that come out injured. I don't know a lot about this area, but I am curious to know.
Sure. Gary, could you answer that question?
Sure, I can. There has been several cases that have come up, and they involve estheticians not practicing in an aesthetic office, but practicing outside of the aesthetics office. Sometimes doing things that they shouldn't be doing, all the time doing things they shouldn't be doing, and people got hurt. The thing that this bill will do, it'll allow us to go in and inspect and make sure that they're doing things the right way and doing them without harming people. The people who got harmed had burned skin, they had scraped skin, they had things that were beyond the scope of what the estheticians currently do, and that's why we need to have this advanced bill in order to have them taught the proper procedures in their practice.
Thank you.
Assemblymember Duran?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this bill forward. So my concern was, or my question is just basically, so an advanced esthetician, is she going to be able to, or are the classes going to be like on microblading and all that stuff that she has to take, maybe, for example?
Thank you, Assemblywoman Duran. Shall I go direct, Chair?
You can go direct,
Thank
Senator.
you. So the Cosmetology Board will work to create the curriculum, and they'll get training. In the bill, it has a list, I think, of 6 kinds of treatments that they'll do, and the curriculum will relate to those things.
Follow up?
So just, I know there's like some people that just specialize maybe in their eyebrows or different things. So if they wanted to expand that or just stay to that specialty, are they still having to take these classes that are going to be offered?
Gary, would you speak to the curriculum, please?
The curriculum would be only for the advanced aesthetics courses. The things that the estheticians get taught in their regular courses would include eyebrows and eyelashes and that type of thing. They're already trained for that. But this would be for things like hydrotherapy, extraction, exfoliation, aesthetic medical procedures, things like that. Those are some of the things that they would be taught, and that's the reason why they need this advanced course.
Members, any other questions? Assemblymember O'Neill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I understand correctly, you first must become an esthetician, and that's supervised, licensed by the Board of Cosmetology. Correct, Senator? Then you go back to school, you do so many 100 hours, 600, and then you go back to school for another 400 hours, if I'm not mistaken, by a training, and then you come out, you still have some supervision or several hundred hours to complete. So before you can be accredited as an advanced esthetician. So my question is, the Cosmetology Board is already supervising these people. They're already licensed by the Cosmetology Board. Why do we have to charge an additional fee when they're already under I don't see what's different. They're already being supervised, controlled. The board has the ability to regulate them. Why the additional fee, if you could, please, Senator? Thank you.
Oh, your mic, Senator?
Sorry, pushed it the wrong way.
Identify yourself.
You beg your pardon?
Identify yourself.
Oh, yes, Senator Lang for the record. If you look in your bill in section 19, number 4, or letter number 4, letter A, a person has to complete 900 hours of training in a licensed school of cosmetology in a curriculum prescribed by the board. And then in B, the person is a licensed esthetician, has additionally completed at least 300 hours in training in a licensed school of cosmetology in a curriculum prescribed by the board. And so then I'm going to let Gary speak to the cost and the oversight, please.
Sure. And just to let everyone know, just as Senator Lang identified, you can go in and have your go in and get a master esthetician, advanced esthetician degree first off for 900 hours. If you're already an esthetician and you weren't sure that you want to get advanced esthetician, then you go back for an additional 300 hours, and that's what you would do. The cost is going to be relative to the number of hours. The 900 program will probably be in the order of $15,000, $12,000, and the 600-hour course is probably in the range of $8,000 to $10,000.
May I follow up, Chair? Thank you. So does the person who wants to be a master or advanced esthetician, they don't have to get an esthetician's license? Is that what I hear you saying?
No, they do not. They do not. Correct. They do not have to get an esthetician's license. They can just get the master esthetician or advanced esthetician license right off the bat.
So is the fee for the masters for that licensing the same as the estheticians?
No, the esthetician license would be 600 hours. An advanced esthetician is 900 hours.
No, the fee, sir, not the hours of training, the fee to get the license.
Same exact fee, $35 a year.
So if I'm already an esthetician and I want to go become a master, do I have to get a new license? Or is my
Yes, you
original?
would. Yes, this is Gary Landry, Executive Director of the Nevada State Board. You would have to go and get additional license and additional training. The 300 hours is additional. You'd have to do that in order to get your advanced esthetician degree.
I understand the hours of the training. I'm just looking at the licensing fee. I'm already licensed. Why do I need to license again?
You would have to because you're getting a new license. You wouldn't be an esthetician. You would have to get that one renewed. You would just get a new license as an advanced esthetician.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the time. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions from members? Okay, I do have a couple of questions. Senator Lang, you had mentioned during your testimony, you touched on endorsements, and I believe that was, you had sent over an amendment that you then pulled and said we were going to work off the third reprint, but then you mentioned in the endorsement section, which was included in the amendment, but not in this third reprint. So are you bringing forth an amendment?
No, we are not. I'm hoping I didn't misspeak because the new license is like an endorsement on their current license. And originally, do you want me to go into the amendment that we were? No. So this is it.
Okay, and then, okay. Members, any other questions? Okay.
So Chair Howdy, if I could, if you'll look in the bill on, let me see, on page, it's probably different in mine, but it is in section 20, or 20.5. It talks about may provide examination for an endorsement of a license. I think that's what I was talking about. So when you've taken your test, you get an endorsement to move on to your new license. I'm told that I have the wrong copy of the bill. I apologize that it's not in there. The endorsement's not in there any longer. I apologize.
Okay. Okay. Okay, members, looks like we do not have any further questions. So at this time, I'm going to move into the, no, not at all. Go ahead, Assemblymember Considine.
So I'm just wondering how many estheticians there are currently in Nevada that are practicing, and then if this goes into a law, how many schools are there in Nevada for all of these folks that need to re-up, get their license? What's the availability for this?
So there's there's availability, and currently places that are offering esthetician licenses are looking at expanding should this bill cost. So I think there are several. Gary, could you speak to the specifics?
Sure. Yeah, there are currently 14 schools in the state of Nevada teaching cosmetology in all the different subcategories, aesthetics being one of them. And those schools would then be going forward to learn the advanced esthetician courses and being able to teach them. We think that there's going to probably be anywhere from 7 to 12 schools that will teach the advanced estheticians.
And Gary, I think she asked a second question is how many people are licensed estheticians?
Right. Right now, I don't know the exact number. I think it's around 5,000, but I'll check and see and get the revised number out to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. Assemblymember Considine? Are you? Okay. Members, last call. Okay, at this time, I would like to move into the support portion of the testimony. Is there anyone here in support in Carson City? Okay, is there anyone on Zoom? Broadcasting, could we check the telephone line?
To testify in support of Senate Bill 291, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, to testify in support of Senate Bill 291, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller with the last 3 digits of 585, please slowly state and spell your name for the record. You'll have 2 minutes and may begin. Caller with the last 3 digits of 585, please press star 6 to unmute.
Good evening, Chairwoman Hadigi and members of the committee. My name is Matt Brinton, Brinton. I'm the CEO of the National Institute of Modern Aesthetics, located in Las Vegas. We want to thank Senator Lang for bringing this bill forward and the Board of Cosmetology for working with us on it. NEMA is in full support of SB 291 and the creation of an advanced aesthetic license. We know that estheticians in Nevada also support this legislation, and there are lengthy wait lists at the schools waiting for this legislation to pass. There's a lot to say. My time is short, so I'll be brief and highlight the 2 biggest benefits of this legislation: consumer safety and the creation of new and higher paying jobs. This legislation addresses consumer safety because it will finally require education and training for the providers of advanced aesthetic services. Surprisingly, these services are currently unregulated in Nevada. Trained practitioners will provide consumers safer and more effective treatment. And second, this bill will create jobs, more stable and higher paying jobs, and particularly for women, who make up the vast majority of cosmetology and aesthetic services providers. Consumer safety and jobs creation are 2 benefits I know we want for Nevada. So please support SB 291. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Broadcasting, next caller.
Chair, there are no more callers in support at this time.
Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? Seeing nobody on Zoom, BPS, if we could go to the telephone line, please.
To testify in opposition of Senate Bill 291, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 291, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you, BPS. Is there anyone in Carson City for neutral? Seeing no one on Zoom, BPS, could we check the phone lines?
To testify in neutral for Senate Bill 291, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers in the neutral position at this time.
Thank you. Now, I know we've lost Senator Lang, but Mr. Landry, we do have a question for you during closing remarks from Vice Chair. Vice Chair Carlton?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And Mr. Landry, nice to see you again. So I'm trying to remember the scope of practice with the original estheticians, and I always stumble over that word, esthetician's license. And now we're talking about a master. So I would really like to understand the difference. What types of procedures are we talking about? I know there have been concerns that some of these come pretty close to medical procedures. And you and I had this conversation years ago. We worked on a number of different issues. In the past, we've had all different types of conversations. A decade ago, we even had an interim committee on some of these issues. So I'm just concerned about where does the actual scope of practice lie when you become the master? What types of things will they be able to do?
Co-Chair Carlson, the things that you would be able to do once you got the advanced esthetician would be exfoliation, which is using a scalpel to remove hair particles. Microdermabrasion, which is an aggressive abrasion of the skin. Microneedling, taking small needles and scraping it across the skin. I don't know why these things come up, but these are things that they're wanting to do. Dermaplaning, that's taking a scalpel and running it against the skin. Extraction, using needles and tools to extract filaments and different things beneath the skin. And hydrotherapy, using water to make the skin look nicer and fresher. Also, doing non-ablative aesthetic medical procedures. That's using lasers and other high-energy machines to eliminate hair particles. So those are the things that they would be allowed to do, and they wouldn't be allowed to do them until they receive the training. Once they receive the training, we're very confident that they would be safe and secure in doing these treatments. But until they receive this advanced training, they shouldn't be doing any of these procedures.
And thank you very much, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Landry, the one that piqued my interest was basically being able to break the skin with a needle. That seems to be the line in the sand a number of times. I mean, the needling, whether it's dry needling or the microabrasion is one thing. So when they break the skin with a needle, will they be extracting anything, or is this... I understand the scalpel part and the exfoliation, but when we start allowing folks that are at this level of education, and nothing against that, but when they start putting needles into people, that's where the one needle, one patient, one use rule comes in. We've had issues with that in the state before, and we start crossing over into medical procedures, and that's where the line in the sand has been crossed in the past. So I just want to make sure I understand. If they're inserting a needle into a patient, what are they inserting it for?
They're typically inserting it in order to remove hair follicles. It's only to go just beneath the surface of the skin. It's not to go below the surface. It's just at the surface of the skin to remove it. So they're not actually puncturing the surface of the skin. They just use the needle to go in and lift the hair follicle out.
And if I may, Madam Chair, is any blood drawn at all? Are there any blood-borne pathogens involved in any of these procedures?
There are not. If the processes are done correctly, there's no blood-borne pathogens that would be in the procedures.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think that makes the record a little clearer. I still have some concerns. When my dermatologist comes at me to take the little nooks and crannies off my nose and ears and chin, he uses a scalpel. So I'm a little concerned about that, but hearing that there's actually no blood extraction involved in this, that makes me a little more comfortable. Thank you.
And I just want to follow up on Vice Chair Carlton's question. And I'm sorry we didn't ask this earlier, Mr. Landry, during the presentation portion, but aren't they already licensed to do hydrotherapy, dermaplaning, vampire facials?
They are not. That's not part of their curriculum training now. All the things that we're talking about, all the 6 different techniques that we're talking about, would be in addition to the basic training that they get. Most of the training that they get now is based on using tools to put eyelashes on and eyebrows, and also doing things for working the skin and the face and the body. Those things are all being taught. But these advanced techniques that we're talking about, the dermaplaning, the microneedling, the lasers to remove hair, those are not being taught now, and they shouldn't be used by any esthetician now. The problem is there are some estheticians that are doing that because they receive training from an equipment manufacturer. They shouldn't be doing those techniques in the salons now because they don't have the certification from us that they know how to do the procedures.
So currently you don't have to have a license to perform those procedures.
Correct. They're not regulated by us, and that this would then put them as a regulated practice under aesthetics.
Okay, that answered my question. Okay, thank you. And any closing remarks, Mr. Landry?
I don't think so. I just want to tell you the board is fully supportive of this bill and would like to see it go through because we run into problems and we're running into an increasing number of problems with people practicing advanced aesthetics and not having the proper training to do that.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 291. Members, the next bill on our agenda is Senate Bill 453. I believe we have Ms. Sandy O'Laughlin here to present the bill. Ms. O'Laughlin, are you with us? Hi, welcome to the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Yeah.
I will now open the hearing on Senate Bill 453, which revises provisions relating to certain persons licensed or certified by the Division of Financial Institutions.
Good evening, Chair and committee members. I'm Sandy O'Laughlin, Commissioner of Financial Institutions Division. I'm here today to walk you through SB 453, which revises various provisions of existing law concerning the issuance and renewal of licenses and certificates by the division. SB 453 authorizes such licenses and certificates to be used and renewed through the nationwide multi-state licensing system and registry, which I will refer to as NMLS. This system is currently being utilized and states agencies across the nation, created and operated by the Conference of State Bank Supervisors. FID is currently operating on an outdated licensing system that we have used since February of 2010. NMLS is an updated system that will replace the current system and streamline the initial and renewal license process for applicants, licensees, and FID. There is similar language throughout the bill as it amends the language of 8 different chapters of the NRS under FID's jurisdiction. Sections 2 through 9 cover NRS 671, issuers of instruments of transmission or payment of money, that are known as money transmitters. Sections 10 through 19 covers NRS 675, Installment Loans and Finance Act. Sections 20 through 32 cover NRS 676A, Uniform Debt Management Services Act. Sections 33 through 51 cover NRS 604A, Deferred Deposit Loans, better known as payday loans, high interest loans, title loans, and check cashing services. Sections 52 through 61 covers NRS 604C, consumer litigation fundings. Sections 62 through 65 cover NRS 628B, private professional guardians. Sections 66 through 77 cover NRS 645G. Exchange facilitators, sections 78 through 90 cover NRS 649. Collection agencies and section 91 through 92 outline effective timelines upon passage of the bill. The sections of the bill provide the same requirements and authorizations for each different chapter, which includes, in summary, authorizes FID to participate in the NMLS, provides for certain actions FID may take concerning participations in the NMLS, authorizes FID and the NMLS to collect certain information and fees through the system, authorizes FID to continue its current practices of obtaining fingerprint cards, to submit to the FBI for purposes of background checks by way of NMLS instead of submitting directly to FID, requires certain persons to submit fingerprint cards, provides that FID may information share with other states through the NMLS system, and authorizes FID to enter into agreements with the government, other governmental agencies, and the Conference of State Bank Supervisors. The bill requires each licensee to register and maintain a unique identifier with NMLS, revises the renewal dates to align with the NMLS system, which will benefit the licensees that are licensed in multiple states, because they will now have the option to renew in all states they hold licenses in at the same time. Provides for renewal and reinstatement periods, and provides for annual report of to the commissioner to be submitted through NMLS instead of directly to FID. This concludes my testimony. I thank you for your time, and I'm open to answer any questions committee members may have.
Thank you so much, Ms. O'Laughlin. Committee members, any questions for our presenters? Okay, I'm going to go to Assemblymember Kasama.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, presenter. So can you just help me with like a big overview? It sounds like you're trying to move from one system to the other. Is that correct? Is that the main gist of this, from the, I believe, the FID system to the MLS? Is that the big goal here?
Thank you for the question. Sandy O'Loughlin for the record. Yes. Currently, we use Versa, and we need to move away from Versa, and we want to use the NMLS.
And what's the short answer for why you need to move from the one system to the other? Is it just upgraded technology?
We are on an app. I'm sorry, Sandy O'Loughlin for the record. We have very old application right now through Versa, and it's outdated, and we need to have an updated system.
And Chair, if I may. So the requirements for licensing are not changing. It is really just changing the systems and then conforming language in the various sections. Would that be correct?
Sandy O'Loughlin for the record. That's correct. We're not changing anything in licensing other than the system and the time period. Right now it goes June, and I think there's some either different dates, but this will all be on the same date at this point if this goes through.
Thank you.
Members, any other questions? Okay, Ms. O'Loughlin, at this time, I'm going to move into the testimony portion of the bill hearing. Is there anyone in Carson City for support? And seeing no one on Zoom broadcasting, can we check the telephone line?
To testify in support of Senate Bill 453, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 453, please press star 9 now. Chair, there are no callers in support at this time.
Okay, seeing no one here in Carson City for opposition and no one on Zoom, can we go to the telephone line?
To testify in opposition of Senate Bill 453, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you wish to testify in opposition of Senate Bill 453, please press star 9. Chair, there are no callers for opposition at this time.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no one here in Carson City and neutral, no one on Zoom, can we go to the phone line?
Testify in neutral on Senate Bill 453. Please press star 9 now. Again, if you would like to testify in neutral on Senate Bill 453, please press star 9. Chair, there are no callers for neutral at this time.
Thank you. And Ms. O'Loughlin, did you want to give closing remarks?
I did not have any closing remarks.
Okay, I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 453. Okay, members, I am going to move us into the work session portion of our bill hearing. We have 3 bills agendized for work session, but we might consider other matters previously discussed as well. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Paslow-Thomas. Members, you should have received the work session document earlier today. It's also available on Nellis for you. Ms. Paslow-Thomas, do you want to start us off with Senate Bill 55?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 55 revises provisions governing the licensing and regulation of employee leasing companies. It was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor on behalf of the Division of Industrial Relations of the Department of Business and Industry, and it was heard on May 24th, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you, members. Any questions on Senate Bill 55 that's before you? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to do pass. I have a do pass by Vice Chair. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Assemblymember Flores. Any discussion on the motion before you? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion. Oh, I have Assemblymember Dickman in a nay. I'm going to do one other check. Any other nays? Okay, motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Tools. Okay. Okay, next, I will ask Ms. Pasloff-Thomas to walk us through Senate Bill 325. I see that our bill sponsor is here for members who have questions.
Senate Bill 325 establishes provisions relating to preventing the acquisition of human immunodeficiency virus. It is sponsored by Senator Settlemyre. It was heard on May 27th. There are proposed amendments that were discussed during the bill hearing. The first would be to amend Section 1 of the bill to authorize a pharmacist who meets the requirements prescribed by the board pursuant to subsection 2 to administer as well as prescribe and dispense a drug described in subsection 1A of the bill. The second proposed amendment amends Section 2 of the bill to add the administration of drugs for the preventing the acquisition of HIV to the actions including within the definition of practice of pharmacy specified in subsection 1J. The third proposed amendment is to amend subsection 1A of section 10 to specify that the coverage that is required to be provided in a policy of health insurance for drugs approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration for preventing the acquisition of HIV may be subject to reasonable medical management techniques, and also amend sections 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, and 20 of the bill to make similar changes to the coverage required to be provided by those sections. And the fourth proposed amendment deletes the provisions of sections 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, and 20 of the bill, which prohibit an insurer from requiring an insured to undergo step therapy or receive prior authorization for the benefits relating to drugs for the preventing the acquisition of HIV. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pasloff-Thomas. Members, any questions on the bill or the amendment before you? Okay, seeing none, I would look for an amend and do pass. I have an amend and do pass by Vice Chair Carlton. I have a second by Assemblymember Dickman. Any discussion on the motion before you? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. I will actually take that floor statement. Okay, members, next we have Senate Bill 340, and I do see that our bill sponsor has joined us. And so if you have questions, I do see our bill sponsor is here as well. Ms. Pasloff-Thomas, would you walk us through Senate Bill 340?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 340 revises provisions relating to the wages and working conditions of certain employees. It is sponsored by Senator Neal, and it was heard on May 27th. There are no proposed amendments.
Members, any questions on the bill before you? Okay, seeing none, I would look for a motion to do pass. I have a first by Assemblymember Considine. I have a second by Assemblymember Duran. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay? Okay, I have Assemblymember Dickman in opposition, Assemblymember O'Neill in opposition, Assemblymember Kasama in opposition, Assemblymember Hardy in opposition, and Assemblymember Tolles in opposition. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Considine. Okay, at this time, I would like to consider the two bills we heard today. I would like to start by considering Senate Bill 291. Ms. Pasloff-Thomas?
Thank you. Senate Bill 291 revises provisions relating to cosmetology. It is sponsored by Senator Lang, and it was heard today. There are no proposed amendments.
Thank you. Assembly members, any questions on the bill before you? Vice Chair Carlton.
And thank you, Madam Chair. And I think having some of the questions answered and understanding this might be a practice that's out there right now and someone could possibly get harmed by it, and being able to allow the Board of Cosmetology to make sure that people are thoroughly trained, thoroughly licensed, and if there is an incident, there is someone they can go to in case it happens. We heard that people are doing it now. So I think it's a good idea to make sure that if a client has an issue, they have someone they can go to in the future. If someone is practicing out of their scope of their license, that there needs to be some accountability. And when we start scraping things off our skin and piercing the skin for things, I think we want to be very, very careful to make sure that the sanitation is taken care of and that they're thoroughly trained. So I had some questions at the beginning, but I would be in support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I would look for, Assemblymember Tolles.
Thank you, Chair, and maybe along the lines of Vice Chair, more of a comment that I too had a lot of initial questions. I feel more comfortable knowing there's a grandfather clause. That was really important to me, and that that there's not another license fee. It just replaces the fee for a standard esthetician, and that the exam fee is also standard. So I'll be a yes at a committee, but I did have some concerns going in. Thanks.
Okay, seeing no other discussion on the motion, seeing no other questions, I would look for a motion to do pass Senate Bill 291. I have a so moved by Vice Chair Carlton. Do I have a second? I have a second by Assemblymember Martinez. Any discussion on the motion? Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be a no on this. Maybe I misunderstood it. I may change, but the way I understand things is they're already licensed. They're just paying for an additional license after paying for all the training, the testing, et cetera. So I equate it to when I had my motorcycle. I had a driver's license. I got a motorcycle endorsement when I didn't have to pay any additional fee to get that on my driver's license. And it's an increased ability in driving on the street. So I will talk with Senator Lang some more about it very quickly.
And Mr. O'Neill, I don't know if we have Mr. Landry on here, but and if he is, maybe he wants to step in, but it was my understanding of the bill that it's not an additional license. Either you have an esthetician license or you have an advanced esthetician license. You don't have to have both, so it's just one fee.
And that's what I thought, but I was texting some, and that's what
Maybe we can have our legal clarify, Mr. Quest. If reading through Senate Bill 291, the language as the third reprint states, it's just either an esthetician license or an advanced esthetician license. It's not the requirement to have both.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sam Quast, Committee Counsel. That's correct. If you have an advanced esthetician's license under this bill, that allows you to practice regular aesthetics or advanced aesthetics. So you would only need one license if you wanted to do both as an advanced esthetician.
But if you already have the case, on the microphone, please. Oh, sorry.
I'll ask. If you already have the first, whatever you want to call it, the first level, thank you. But then you have to pay for the second level license? That's how I'm understanding it.
Go ahead, Mr. Quast.
Sam Quast, Committee Counsel. So in Section 19, there's a number of different ways to go about getting this license. If you are an advanced esthetician, if you're a licensed, not an advanced esthetician. If you're a licensed esthetician, you can get 300 additional hours of training in this advanced esthetician curriculum. That would be one way to go about it. Or if you were not a licensed esthetician, subsection 4 of Section 19 sets forth the other requirements. So you could complete 900 hours of training. So if you were a licensed esthetician and you got the new 300 hours of additional training, you would then get a new license as an advanced esthetician, and your old license as an esthetician would go away.
So there'd be no additional fee for that second license, correct? Okay. Then, if I may, I'll rescind my statements. Thank you for the education.
You're welcome, Mr. O'Neill. I know we were in the portion of questions on the motion, but not questions on the bill. But yeah, I wanted to clear that up for you.
I've got to admit, I really don't understand any of this in the first place.
Well,
I don't want to go there. So can I just say yes?
Yes. Okay. All right, members. Ms. Kasama, did that end? I saw you raise your hand. Are you good?
Yeah, I'll be yes out of the committee. If I have any other concerns, I'll just reserve my right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I have Assemblymember Dickman as a nay. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Martinez. Okay, members, our last item on work session for today is Senate Bill 453. I'll hand it over to Ms. Paslow-Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 453 revises provisions relating to certain persons licensed or certified by the Division of Financial Institutions of the Department of Business and Industry or the Commissioner of Financial Institutions. The bill was sponsored on behalf of the Office of Finance in the Office of the Governor, and it was heard today, and there are no proposed amendments.
Thank you, Ms. Paslow-Thomas. Members, any questions on the bill? This would be your opportunity to ask questions on the bill or the bill sponsor. And then, okay. Seeing none. We're all zombies right now. It's okay. I have a motion from Assemblymember O'Neill and a second from Vice Chair Carlton. Now, do you have any questions on the motion? Okay. Members, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember O'Neill. Okay, members, that looks like that is our committee business for today. I don't want to say for session because we don't know if we will be getting any other bills coming from the Senate. But I do want to check with the members if we have any other comments from the members. Oh, I'm sorry, members, before we do this, we do have to go to public comment. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to give public comment? Seeing no one on Zoom broadcast, can we go to the phone line?
Chair, the public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you. And I will go to members for comment. Okay, can I give a comment? I'm going to go to Vice Chair Carlton first.
And thank you, Madam Chair, because we don't know if we're going to be back in this room again. And I have served on Commerce and Labor since 1999, and I have worked with a lot of really great people. But I have to say that our chair has done a fantastic job of stepping in, managing very complicated, very difficult issues across the spectrum, from scope of practice to financial to real estate, to all the turf battles that are out there in this building. They all end up in Commerce and Labor, and she has done a wonderful job in managing them. And I could not have done that good a job when I did Commerce and Labor the first time, because believe me, my first time as chairing Commerce and Labor, it was a bit of a mess. So, but it was in the Senate. I hope they're not listening. So with that, I just wanted to congratulate her on having a very successful session.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Oh, thank you. Well, and I just want to take this point of privilege as a chair just to say thank you to all of the committee members. I think you guys asked fabulous questions during the session, really helped me from having to ask questions because most of you guys asked all my questions, so I appreciated your involvement. But so I want to thank you guys for being such active members of Commerce and Labor, and I really, really want to thank our committee staff, broadcast LCB staff, because although we're the ones on the little screen, they are really the superstars behind the screen that make us look good on the TV and make things look easy. So I just really want to say thank you to LCB staff, to broadcast, to IT, and to the amazing staff of Commerce and Labor. Thank you guys for a wonderful session. And Vice Chair stole my thunder because I wanted to talk about how long she had served on this committee, but it was really easy to do my job when I had a Vice Chair who served and been on Commerce and Labor for 24 years. So whenever I had a question, I could really lean on her to help me navigate the Commerce and Labor process. So if I did a good job and if I made it look easy, it was because of the people, the staff, and the Vice Chair who helped me through it. So thank you, Ms. Carlton, for your service to this committee and your service to the state. Thank you. Okay, with that, committee members, we are adjourned for today.
And Ways and Means, if you're listening, I need to have you back in the room in about 15 minutes or so. So everybody do whatever you've got to do and get to the Ways and Means room. Thank you very much.